See, when it comes to plotting and murder, South Africa is on another level. Did you guys hear of the woman who killed two of her boyfriends and her own son with the help of each one of them? Let me clarify. Like, she killed three grown men, and used them all to kill themselves. This is another level of criminality. Like, I've never seen something like this before. So the woman who goes by the name of Pamela Nkumisa was said to have been married and had about 3 children with her first husband. But eventually she lost her husband, which, given her history now, did the man really die of natural causes, or did she have something to do with it? But from record, her first husband died of something else, and so she moved on with her life and began dating a man named Michael Changisa. In 2016, Pamela and Michael began having issues. They would quarrel, they would fight, and all this was happening in front of our own children, who are already growing up. Eventually, they stopped talking and their relationship seemed to be on the rocks. Apparently, we later got to learn that the reason Pamela was pissed at Michael was because Michael had infected her with HIV. And so, when their relationship met rocks, Pamela moved on to another man named Gift Fury. And somewhere along the line, Pamela asked Gift to help her kill Michael. And Gift did not waste time accepting this deal. After all, Pamela is now his girlfriend, so he would do anything to please the new woman in his life. Now, the thing is, Michael was living in Pamela's house. And I think part of how Pamela wanted to get rid of Michael from her life was to kill him, since the man would not leave the house, since he would not move out of the house, and their relationship was already dying. And so, for Gift to get his place in Pamela's house, he had to do what he thought he needed to do. And so, on the agreed day, he went to Pamela's house, waited for Michael to come into the house after a long day of drinking. So Michael came home drunk, unaware of the situation, and out of nowhere, Gift popped out and used the sledgehammer to murder Michael. Another source did claim that they did not kill Michael immediately, that they held him captive, tied him up, and tortured him a little bit. And it was through that torture that Gift and Pamela gave to him that he eventually passed and died from. Although most sources said that he used the sledgehammer like some kind of weapon to continue hitting Michael till he eventually died. It's unclear which is which, but the bottom line is they both connived, planned to get rid of Michael. And one way or the other, they ended up killing him. And what they did next was to dig a grave in the compound and buried Michael. Now, Pamela's neighbors already started getting familiar with Michael, and so whenever they asked about Michael, Pamela would say that he had traveled, that he had moved on, that they had broken up, pretty much just give excuses. Even Michael's family, who were looking for him, would meet Pamela, and Pamela would also give the same story. Because the thing is, you can't just kill someone and bury them in a grave and not knowing that these people have families that would ask questions. But somehow, some way, Pamela was able to evade those questions. And that period of time, Gift clearly moved in and started living with Pamela. He is now the new man. He has gotten rid of the other one. So he is now in charge. But the thing is, people were asking questions about Michael. Where was Michael? How did Michael just suddenly disappear without a trace? One particular neighbor was very suspicious, but she did not know how to prove her suspicion. Even Pamela's auntie suspected her of doing something terrible to Michael. But again, she didn't exactly have enough proof or evidence. And I'm guessing her children who were in the house that period of time also did not see so much and did not know so much. Maybe they would have said or spoken or snitched somehow, some way. So Pamela was able to get rid of Michael, seemingly without a trace. And she began a new life with her new man, Gift Fury. Now, what Gift did not know is that he was about to be the next person. See, sometimes how you get them is how you lose them. So Pamela and Gift's relationship started off strong, clearly. But eventually, Gift started being an asshole. Barely 1 year into their relationship, Gift became abusive. He began physically abusing Pamela and her children. From the story, it seemed that she had 2 boys, one who was 17 and another one who was a lot younger, about 13 or so. And Gift's behavior towards their mother was something that they could not stand. It was out of nowhere. It was something that became unbearable. And Pamela knew that at this point, she needed to get rid of Gift. And so, instead of going to meet another boyfriend, she went to meet her 17-year-old son named Avil and spoke to Avil and told Avil that this man is doing too much. And Avil agreed with his mother that, yeah, they have to get rid of Gifts. They have to get rid of him. He's becoming too much. He's doing way too much. And so they agreed to poison his food and his drink. And that happened. Pamela and Avil both found the perfect time to poison Gift's food. And when he came home, he ate and drank, and he started feeling sick. Eventually, he started foaming from his mouth. And when they saw that he had figured out that, oh, this might be a ploy to kill him, and he was trying to get help, Avil and Pamela both held him down and drowned him. His head was said to have been shoved into some kind of bucket of water, where they eventually snuffed life out of him. And what did they do next? Pamela went to the grave where he had buried Michael, dug it up, and then put Gift inside of it. The same grave that Gift had dug for the man before him was the same grave that he was being buried in. But what is not clear is if it was in that moment that her son Avil knew that somebody else had been buried there. And I think this could have been the moment Pamela would have come clean to the son and be like, yeah, this was where I buried the first man, and this is where we're going to be burying the second one. But the thing is, Avil couldn't care less. All these men were causing nuisance to his mother. All these men made life miserable for his mother. And if this is the way they had to go, then they had to go. And I don't think it occurred to him what this meant. All he wanted was to get rid of this man who was abusive, not just to his mother, but to him also, because he was just a teenager, a 17-year-old boy. And that was how Gift Fury was buried, without a trace. So Pamela thought life was going to be good now. All she wanted to do was focus on her children, her sons, two of them. And she also seemed to have had a daughter too. So she had about 3 to 4 children. And now that all the men are done, she wanted to focus on raising her kids to perfection. Unfortunately, 1 year later, Avil, a 17-year-old son who at this time is now 18, began taking hard drugs, began smoking, began drinking, and suddenly turned into a different person. Avil turned into all the men that her mother seemed to have been dating. Avil became very violent, became aggressive, began speaking rudely. He would talk back at Pamela. And whenever Pamela tried to check him or correct him or put him in his place, Avil would threaten to report to the police of all the things that she had done to her men, of all the things that she had done to her boyfriends in the past. So Avil started using the fact that her mother had killed 2 boyfriends and buried them in the backyard to threaten Pamela. All the while, he would refuse to split rent. He would not get a job. Whenever the mother gets some kind of child support from any organization, Avil would request his own share. He wanted to split the house. He wanted to get his own share of the house. He wanted his own money. He was making so much demands. He became the man of the house right now. And so it seemed like it was now his turn to enjoy being a man. And he also became physically abusive to his younger brother and sister. To Pamela, this boy was turning into a monster. This boy was turning into like all the other men she had dated. And she couldn't stand it. And this was the point she knew that Avil got to go. This was the point she knew that this nigga, yeah, you're gonna go. You're gonna leave. You by now should know who you're dealing with. Avil, for crying out loud, your mother had 2 men, 2 grown men buried in her backyard. And you with your 17-year-old brain, you think you have a chance, or you think you can stand her, you think you can play with her. If it was me, I would be scared of Pamela. I would leave that house. I'm not going to get drunk and fight my mother knowing she had killed 2 of her boyfriends. Who knows if she was the one who even killed their father? Because that one is another topic. Who knows? And Avil went on playing with fire, went on threatening his mother, went on blackmailing her, extorting from her. At this point, he thought he had so much power over this woman. And maybe he thought because since he was her son, she would not do such a thing to him. Little did she know that Pamela was not the one to be played with. Pamela was not the one at all. This woman was devil sent from the pit of hell. And what does Pamela do? This is the part that blew my mind. Pamela then went to Avil's younger brother, the 13 years old, maybe 14-year-old at the time, I can't recall his age, and went to meet him and said, look, your brother is doing too much and he got to go. And one night, they both plotted, hid in the dark, the same way they killed Michael. When Avil came home drunk, Pamela stomped on this boy and hammered him to death. And she did this killing of Avil right in front of Avil's younger brother, her second son. And when she was done killing Avil, she went back to that same grave, dug it up, and dropped the son there, and she was done with it. She was, who is next? Who wants to try me? I'm joking, she didn't do that part. Or she probably did it in her head. But the thing is, Avil was dead and buried along with the other men. And so this means the trauma would now fall on her second son. And everything seemed to be moving on fine as time went on. I'm starting to feel like at this point, burying Avil would most likely be the same time that the second son would learn that mom was the one who had done all the other killing. And he had probably learned it from Avil running his mouth in the house, most likely. So it's probably something that people were already saying. It's probably rumors, but nobody had any evidence. But now Pamela's second son was sure that his mother was the one who had killed all the men in her life, including his older brother Avil. So what does this do to him? This is a young boy who is not even up to 18. Apparently, life went on fine for 2 years. So somewhere in 2020, it was said that the Pamela's second son began feeling sick. He started falling sick. He was not doing too well. I guess he had some kind of effect from the whole incident, and it messed up his mental health somehow, some way. So Pamela's second son is feeling sick. He's falling ill. Pamela decided to take the son to a traditional healer. And when the traditional healer met the son to try to help him, to consult with him what was going on with him, in the absence of Pamela, the son told the traditional healer that his mother had killed 3 men and had buried them in their backyard. And I think this came as a shock to the traditional healer, because this is the son confessing and exposing the mom. Some sources said that the traditional healer went to report to the police almost immediately, but the police did not believe him because he needed more evidence. And I guess maybe the son would not probably corroborate the story. So when they came for another consultation, the traditional healer pretended to delay Pamela and the son and decided that he was going to call another expert to come and help the son. So Pamela is blindsided by all this. Pamela did not know the son had told the traditional healer about all the men she had killed. So Pamela is waiting for the second doctor to come, not knowing that this native doctor, this traditional doctor, had called the community leaders and had told them that this is the situation. Before they all knew, Pamela was blindsided and honored by a group of community boys who were led by the community leader to have her under citizens' arrest. Pamela and her son were taken back home and confronted by the entire community, where it was eventually revealed by the son the grave that the men had been buried in. And they dug the grave and all the bodies were exhumed. And finally, everybody were convinced that this is it. This is what has been happening. Pamela and her son were arrested and charged to court. Eventually, the charges on the son was dropped because he became a prosecution witness against his mother. He had to stand and bear witness against his own mother and told the court that it was the mother who did it all. And I think it's only fair, given that he was a minor and the mom was the one who led him to do it, and also given that he was the one who told on the mom. He was the one who exposed the mom. He was the one who reported, even though it took 2 years. He just probably grew into himself and understood that what he had done with his mom or what his mom had done was wrong. And he needed to speak to somebody, and he spoke to an adult who took it up with the leaders and eventually the police. And so the boy's charges were dropped and he had to just bear witness against his mom. Pamela did not show any remorse. She defended her stand, claimed that Michael infected her with a life-threatening disease and was abusive, and Gift was also just as abusive, and the son was equally as abusive. So although she felt bad for killing her own son, given that that is her own son, she stood her ground against the other 2 murder cases. It was also learned that somewhere along the line, when these things came to public, Pamela tried to force her second son to take the blame. Pamela tried to force the little boy to say that he did it all by himself because he was young and they would probably pardon him, or he'll be treated as a minor or a juvenile. But yeah, the son agreed. But who would believe it though? That the boy who was probably 13 years at the first murder or 12 years old would have done that at the time. So it did not make sense that anybody would have believed that. And personally, I agree with the son for not falling for what the mom was about to do, because if there is anything I've learned about this Pamela here is that she will throw anybody under the bus. She will get rid of you. I don't think she gave 2F about her second son. And I think that's why she wanted the boy to take the fall, because she didn't care about him also. I don't think this woman likes men at all, including the one she gave birth to. So it did not make sense to me that she really cared for her son, or she was going to protect her son. If she was going to protect her son, she would not have told her son to take the fall. That move there was her trying to get her son to take the whole fall and just go to jail for the thing that she had done. And then maybe she'll focus on her only daughter left. Or if she has another child, probably that would be next. I personally, as the second son, I would be worried too, because this woman seems to be killing anybody that gets on her nerves, that gets in her way. So yeah, no mom, no mom, thank you, ma, but you did it all by yourself, so you gotta go to jail, not me, Pamela. And I think that's what the boy did. The boy was like, I am not taking the fall, ma. If Pamela was connivingly smart, she would have done it earlier on when the boy was still much younger. You know, it took 2 years later, and 2 years for a 14-year-old boy, he'll become like what, 16 or 17. So he's a lot older. 2 years is a long time for a teenager to grow up and have sense. So if she had probably wanted to get away with it, all she had to do was report it herself and blame it on the son and make the son to take it when he was a lot younger. That way the boy would have done it, and who knows, he would have probably been out of jail by now or something like that. But for her to wait for the boy to expose her first and then try to convince the boy to take it back, yeah, that was, she wasn't quick about it. I guess she did not think her son would betray her. I don't think she thought that through. I don't think she would have thought that the son would do such a thing. Now, I also got to learn that Gift and Michael's family did not really show up during the court proceedings. And maybe that was why they didn't push hard to find the killers. That's why they didn't push so hard to find them, because they lived in Malawi. So they were not full-blown South Africans. So they lived very far off, and they most likely did not have the funds to chase justice for their sons. And I guess that's why it was easy for Pamela to get away with it for as long as she did. After 4 years of detention and 3 years of trial, in 2024, Pamela was eventually found guilty of the 3 murders and was given 3 consecutive life sentences. So she got to serve life sentence 3 times, so probably 300 years in jail. It's just so fascinating. Such a story to me, in as much as it's unfortunate, forgive me, but it's a little bit badass in a way where I think if this was made into a movie, people would look at Pamela like, wow, this woman, she's conniving. And it's one thing I keep saying, one thing about some of the crimes that come out from South Africa, especially when it's committed by a woman, it's very orchestrated, very planned, very calculated. There was even this one story of a white woman. I think we'll do that one separately, but if you can catch it here, we will just add it. A white woman named Annelle de Bruyn, who was living with her husband peacefully, and all of a sudden decided to hire a middleman to get assassins to come kill her husband in their home and make it look like a farm robbery. This man and this woman have been living peacefully for 14 years since their marriage. According to the husband, she did not know that they had issues. She did not know that this woman had plans to kill him. There was no quarrel, there was no fight. She's cooking his meals, they're having sex. All the while, Nell is busy hiring assassins, paying them, telling them where to go, telling them where they will see the husband, telling them, oh, when you're done killing him in the farm, shoot our family dogs, burst our tires, destroy some things so that it will look like a farm attack. And don't worry, our neighbors are not going to respond in a few hours, so you have enough time to... Like, this white woman was caught on recorded by the people she paid to come and kill her husband, because they really targeted her and they really backstabbed her. He's plotting and telling them how they will come and kill her husband and make it look like a robbery. And she went home thinking that the assassins were about to come, not knowing these assassins went to report to the police, and she was arrested. A lot of crimes that happen in South Africa in this nature are very orchestrated and very planned. These women are very calculated. And I think Pamela was one of such of these women. You saw how she killed each and every one of these men with the help of each and every one of them. And I think the son pretty much figured out that he would be next in line. And so he needed to get rid of the mother. And he did just that very brilliantly and very smartly. And he didn't get to go to jail. Whew, man. I guess I have to put this in mind. Should I eventually end up marrying a South African woman? I just got to know, because these people, you don't see them coming. Don't play with them. Don't play with them. They will destroy you and nobody will even know. Even think about the ones with the insurance fraud. We've done 2 stories with this insurance fraud where they will orchestrate this insurance killing very meticulously. Sometimes I imagine the ones who got away with it. And I'm not going to lie to you, I feel Pamela killed her first husband because all the signs are pointing towards it. Damn. 3 men all in one grave. Come on, this should be a movie. This is a movie. Let me just be done, because currently I'm working on a film project. The moment I get money, I'm going to start making movies for you all. And you guys don't even believe that these are stories that we will be getting to put on screen. Imagine making a movie about this Pamela's own story, or inspired by it. I know somebody's going to do it now that I've said it. If you're going to do the movie, get me in it. Get me in it. I'm a filmmaker, I'm a director, and I'm a scriptwriter too. So people know that about me. Also, just put that in mind, because soon we'll start making more of, stories and movies and films. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And also, don't forget, our channel is still going through the changes where there will be other narrators, and I hope you guys stay supporting them. So thank you guys for watching.